Hey everyone, welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. Tonight we are doing a posture kind of flow here to improve your posture and build some core strength and work on shoulder and hip mobility. So you will need a strap for this class. If you don't have a strap, then you can use a long sock or a scarf or I don't know, improvise some piece of rope. I do recommend using the scarf. You could do the pose, I'm sure, without, but it will enhance the specific exercise that we're going to do when we get to that part. But as usual, we're just going to kind of start with that warm up. We're going to get into a bit of a flow and we'll just go through the postures and then cool down after for Shavasana. So we'll get started on the mat in child's pose. So bring your knees wide, big toes are touching, stretch your arms forward and bring your forehead down to the mat and begin to breathe in and out through the nose. So you want to ground down here, just quieting the mind. Listening to the sound of your own breath. And just with every breath, more and more you're arriving into your body and just feeling what's going on in your back, in your shoulders, noticing where you feel the stretch the most in this pose. So we'll take the left arm straight out to the left. The right arm stays straight ahead of you and look to the left. Side of the head may come to the floor here. Try to keep the hips sinking back, but if you need more space, then you can lift your hips up higher. We're going to move into a twist. We're going to take that left arm and slide it underneath the right arm. Head down to the floor. Take another deep breath in and out. And release. Switching sides, so the right arm goes straight up to the right. And look to the right. And then moving into the twist, we're going to lift up that right arm and slide it underneath the left and head down to the floor, breathing deep. Okay, one more deep breath in and out here. And then releasing out. So reach forward, come on up to tabletop pose. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders and knees underneath your hips. So round the spine, come into a cat arch. And then inhale, release the belly down. Lift your chest forward and draw your shoulder blades back. Exhale and inhale. Try to move with your breath as best as you can. Noticing your range of motion in both your extension of the spine when your belly drops down and then flexion of the spine. Notice how both sides feel. Okay, we're going to move around in a circle motion. Pick a direction to move into counterclockwise for a few and then counterclockwise, and then keep switching back and forth. Just kind of play playing around with that range of motion, feeling a movement, feeling a stretching through the sides of the body, hips. Notice how the joints feel. Notice how your shoulders feel, how those hips, knees. So slight engagements of the core here that keep the breath flowing. All right. So from here, back to tabletop pose, and just stretching the fingers out by lifting the heel of the palm above the floor and then releasing back down. So shift the weight back so it's more into your legs here. I'm not putting a ton of weight into my hands. So lifting heels of the palm, and then drop back down. Lifting, releasing, lifting, releasing, lift and release. Now spin the hands so that the palm or the fingers point out, and you can keep turning them so that the fingers start turning more towards your knees, and just kind of playing around with that range of motion. Okay, once you've found your full range of motion in your wrists, just holding there, you should feel the stretch in your wrist and your forearms. You can lean back to enhance that stretch. Deep breath in and deep breath out, and then releasing from there. Okay, back to tabletop pose with your fingers pointing forward. Lift your right leg back behind you and lift your left arm forward. Bring your elbow to the knee, knee to elbow. Reach out and then release down. And then we'll do that for the left side. So the left leg and the right arm. Bring the elbow to the knee. Reach forward and then bring it down. Okay, switch again. Right leg, left arm. Bring the elbow to the knee. Reach forward, bring it down. You don't have to do this fast, but we're just going to keep moving from side to side. Reaching, bring it in, reach away, releasing down. Right leg, left arm, exhale, inhale, and then exhale. Left leg, inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and exhale. If you time it just right, then you just keep moving with your breath. Every movement is coordinated with the breath. Last side. Reaching out and then releasing down. Okay, just come back into child's pose, take a rest. And then releasing. Come on back up, back to tabletop pose. So now we're just going to work on a little bit more core here. We're going to tuck the toes under and lift the knees so that they're just hovering above the floor. Okay, so try to keep that flat back as best you can. Try not to sink in through the shoulders or bend the elbows. Your elbows are locked out here, and you're pushing into your hands almost like you want to try and round your upper back, but you want to keep that flat back. So you should feel the quad muscles turned on, engaged, and you feel the core muscles as well engaged here. Just take another deep breath in, and then release down. Release the knees down. Okay, and then we'll do that again. So go ahead, lift the knees. This time take the right leg back and bring it down. And then the left leg straight back and bring it down. But the knees are hovering above the floor. Reaching back, bring it down, reaching back, bring it down. Try to keep that flat back, reaching back, down, and left leg back, and down, and then take a rest. So bring the knees down to the floor, drop back to child's pose. Okay, and then coming back up, back to tabletop pose. Okay, this time we're going to lift the knees. This one's going to be a little bit harder. So we're going to lift the knees and lift the right leg back behind you, maybe lifting the left arm. And if you need to keep the knees onto the floor, that left knee onto the floor, and just do that bird dog position, then that's fine. And then release down, and then switch sides. So take the left leg back first, and then focus ahead of you. Try to take that right arm off the floor, and then release down. All right, so sit back on your heels, and then take a little bit of a back bend here. Take the hands back behind you, arching back. Deep breath in, and then releasing. Spin around so that you're on your seat. And then we're just going to go to a wide V-sit, and we're just going to do some more dynamic movement. So we're going to go over to the left leg, and then go over to the right leg. And then we're going to go over to the center, and then left leg, right leg. And just keep going from side to side, center, side. Okay, now we're reaching. So we're going to go to the left and reach with the right arm, and then reach with both arms to the center, and then reach with the left arm to the right leg. Both arms reaching to the center. Right arm reaching to that left foot. Both arms reaching to the center. And then the left reaching to the right. And then both to the center. Cross your legs. Sukhasana. Reach to the center. Take your hands back. Arch back. Reach to the center. Take your hands back. Okay, and then just hands at the chest, and then just with the torso, we're just going to go over to the right knee, go over to the left knee. Try to keep your chest up and core engaged. Go over to the left knee. You're just kind of doing these little bows. Bowing to the center, just like we did with the V-sit. Bowing to the right. It's a good little warm up for the hips. Core engaged, belly pulling to spine, chest lifting, over to the right, and then center. Okay, arms reach up, inhale, and then twist to your right. Left hand onto the right knee. Looking over your right shoulder. Releasing, arms reaching up. And then exhale to the other side. Right, and then releasing. So reaching up, inhale. Exhale, reach forward and just hold that forward fold. Breathe into your back. And then slowly come up. Okay, if you'd like to go to tabletop pose from here, then you're just rocking forward and bring the knees back behind you. From here, we're going to go to tabletop pose, down dog. So tuck your toes under, lift your hips, and walk it out. We're just going to go now down dog to up dog or cobra. So down dog, come forward and drop the hips, but keeping your arms straight, so no chaturanga. So that's the up dog, and then you can just kind of slink down, bend your elbows from there if you just want to go right to cobra. Okay, so to come back up to up dog, you straighten your arms, tuck your toes, and then lift up through your hips and pull up through your belly to down dog. Okay, come forward, and then this is what cobra would look like. So your knees down, and then you just mostly use your knees to assist you on cobra. So up dog, cobra, and then back. You can just go up dog and then down dog if you like. Coordinate that with your breath, so you're inhaling and then you're exhaling. I'm just leaving my toes tucked under, but you can untuck your toes if you like. So keep your chest lifting. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. One more time. Inhale and exhale. So downward facing dog, walking it out. Look forward at the hands, step or hop up to them, folding forward at the top of your mat. Deep breaths in and out. Okay, we're gonna work on some shoulders here. So grab onto your strap. And you can just half it, or kind of depends on how long your strap is. Mine's gonna be about 2 feet long, and I'm just gonna hold on to the edges of the strap here. So we're gonna raise the strap above the head, so holding it in an overhand grip, and I'm just holding it above my head. Now I'm trying to pull the shoulder blades down the back. So just trying to holding that position as best as you can. You're pulling the strap apart, so you're adding some resistance there and adding some activation. As you're pulling the strap apart, you are trying to drop your shoulder blades down at the same time. So really kind of think about what's happening in your back. Notice what's happening in your legs and how you're standing, where you're placing the weight in your feet. So make sure you're feeling your toes touch the floor. Make sure you're feeling your inner arches, outer edges, and your heels as well. Touch the floor, engage. Kneecaps lifting, quadriceps engaged, tailbone dropping down, but not tucked under. You don't want to push your hips forward for this. You want to stay at a neutral pelvis. Okay, release your arms down, and then we're going to just do arm raises. So we're above the head on an inhale, and then on the exhale, we're lowering. Inhale above, exhale down. Again, you're just really trying to notice how that feels with your breath, coordinating with your breath, inhaling, exhaling. Inhaling, your spine is going into some flexion or some extension there. Allowing some more air to come in. Release it all. Really make sure you're breathing all that air out on your exhale. Even if you need to breathe out through your mouth, you do that. Arms above your head. Now we'll do a side leaning move here. So we're going over to the left side first, and we're still trying to pull the strap apart. So try not to lean that or pull that your right arm across your face. Try to keep it alongside your ear at all times here, and push up through the strap, but also pull it apart. Belly pulling to spine. Keep reaching and pushing that strap up, and more angling towards the ceiling or the corner of the ceiling, and then come back to center, and then go over to the other side. So same thing here. Try to keep that activation by pulling the strap apart, pushing the strap away from you. Try to draw the belly in, try to keep that engaged lower half of your body here. So keeping that part of your body engaged, the core engaged to help support you. And then come back to center, and then lowering and lifting with your breath. Exhale down, inhale, exhale down, inhale, exhale down, and inhale. And then exhale down. Bring the strap back behind you. So we're going to set the feet wider, as wide as your mat, right to the edges of your mat. And then start by pulling the strap away from your back. So as far as you can, keep pulling that strap apart. So palms are facing up. So it's kind of, again, it's an underhand grip back behind you. palms facing up, but closed grip on that strap behind you. Pull it back and then release it down. So just let the shoulders relax and the strap just kind of falls down to the backs of your legs. Okay, so just holding there, breathe. Notice how your shoulders feel pulling back. Okay, and then again, find that activation, pulling back. Think about shoulder blades squeezing together behind you. One more breath. And then releasing. So again, just relax the shoulders. Breathe it out. Keeping your just kind of relaxed shoulders, but still keeping that grip on your strap here behind you, behind your legs. We're going to do a little neck stretch here. Right ear down to the right shoulder. Now drop the chin down to the chest. Keep breathing. Try to keep the shoulders pulling back as best as you can here. Lift your head, neutral, and then drop the left ear down to the left shoulder. So just holding onto the strap behind you just to kind of keep that awareness of the shoulders pulling back here as you're stretching your neck. Now drop the chin down to the center and then lift it up. Okay, now we'll do the external rotation of that shoulders. So we're pulling it back again, but this time we're going to bow forward and bend the knees. So we're going to get into the hips too. So go ahead and pull the strap back as far as your range of motion will allow, and then we're going to lean forward. As we lean forward, we're bending the knees and hinging at the hips there, and then bowing down. So just going down to your full range of motion. As you sink down, and if you have some spine flexibility, then your arms will, and your shoulders flexibility, arms will raise up above your head. If possible, you are dropping your head down, chin tucks in and up. Pull the weight back into the heels. Now we're going to push through the heels and stand to release. Okay, we're going to do another one of those, but only keeping the legs straight this time. So arms pull back behind you, and then hinging forward, keeping your legs straight. Hinge, and then just go down to your fullest range of motion there. So now you should feel a greater stretch in the hamstrings. All right, and then slowly rise up. So you're pulling it apart as you're rising up, and then releasing. Okay, so now we're going to take the strap above the head again, and then we're just going to kind of floss above the head. So we're going to bend the left elbow and bring it down by the side, and that will mean that the right forearm will go overhead and kind of create that half box or L up over your head, so framing your head. So pull down and then pull down on the other side. Okay, and then you're just trying to, again, just creating a little bit of symmetry as best as you can. Notice if one side feels tighter than the other when you're making this motion. See how far your forearm can kind of sit on top of your head and how far your elbow can pull down by your side as well. And just keep that breath there flowing through. I'm going at a kind of a moderate pace, but you can take it slower if you need to. And move back and forth. Let's do one more on each side. And then releasing. Okay, release the strap. So next we are just doing, we're going to do a regular squat, and then we'll do a Hindu squat. So feet at hip distance apart, toes are pointing forward. And then we're just gonna keep the hands at the chest here, and then just sinking down into a squat. Don't let the heels lift up off the floor. That'll come here in a little bit for the Hindu squat. Pull back as far as your range of motion goes, and then lift forward or rise up and push your hips forward at the top when you're standing. So inhale, the weight comes back into your heels, and then exhale, pushing with the hips forward, driving the hips forward. So exhale, inhale, exhale. You can bring your hands onto your hips to do this as well. Looking forward, keep your chest up. Inhale down, exhale. And then we're going to stop at your next squat. So at the bottom of your next squat. And you can keep your hands at your hips, at your heart. So sort of like your Utkatasana, but only the knees are hip distance apart. So they're not together like our chair position. So you should feel this pretty quad heavy here, pretty quad intensive. You might feel that in the hip flexors and the stretch. And then push through the feet and then release the legs. Okay, so for the Hindu squat, it's going to be a type of a rowing motion here. So, and the heels will lift and the knees will go over the toes. But this is healthy enough for the knees as long as you have no knee injury and no problem going into flexion. But we will start here. So bringing the hands down by your side, and then as you lower down, your heels are going to lift up off the floor. And then when you come down to your full range of motion, I'm doing this very slow, you're going to come back up, and I just have fists for this. And you're coming back up, heels drop down to the floor, and then at the top, you're pulling back. So you're retracting the shoulder blades back and elbows back, okay? And then coming down, inhale down, and then you're exhaling up. Okay, so just go nice and slow if you need to. You don't have to go down as far as I am. So as you come down, heels lift, going into that full flexion, pushing, balancing on the way up because my heels don't drop to the floor until I get up to standing. So as long as you keep your posture up, chest lifting, you should be in good alignment here to do this. Oops. And then you can start to do it faster, and it becomes more of a cardio for a lot of people, a lot of athletes. They will drive through 10s, 20s, 30s of these and just go for it. So coming down in a faster movement, inhale, inhale down, and it becomes sort of a diaphragmatic breathing after a while. And you can kind of get into a little bit of a flow. And again, you don't have to do this as fast as I am, but if you want to start warming up through the body, this is a good way to do it. This is really good for your knees, and it's good for ankle stability, for the health of your feet, building that strength in your feet, and well, the rest of your core, for your shoulders, for your posture. I'm just going to keep going here. We're going to do 2 more. All right, so coming back to the top part of the mat, legs feel nice and warm. We're going to reach up and do some sun salutation. So inhaling, lifting, and exhaling, coming down. Inhale halfway, and then exhale, step back to plank pose. We're going to do these nice and slow since we are focusing on core and strengthening the core tonight. So we're in plank pose, another good pose for strengthening the core. Take another deep breath in. And then exhale, lower down through chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or cobra. And exhale to downward facing dog. Look forward at the hands, step or hop up to them. Inhale halfway. Exhale, forward fold, and then inhale, rise up all the way. Exhale, hands at your heart. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back to plank pose. From plank pose, we're gonna drop down one forearm at a time. Holding that. Reaching out through your heels, so make sure you are pushing through your heels and keep the core engaged, not slouching, not sinking in through the low back. Okay, step up to the hands and your plank pose, and then come back into downward facing dog. Look forward at the hands, step forward, hop up to them. Inhale halfway, exhale fold, inhale rise up all the way. Exhale, hands at the heart. Inhale, lifting up. Another variation, exhale, fold forward. Inhale halfway. Exhale, hands to the floor, and step your right foot back and drop your right knee down to the floor. So just holding with your hands onto the floor and get a nice hip stretch from here. You can look forward, lift your chest forward, think about the shoulders sliding down your back. Toes tucked under. Okay, if possible, go ahead and lift that back knee up off the floor. You'll feel that stretch way more intensely with the right, the right knee coming up off the floor and pushing through the heel. Keep holding. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then kind of release that stretch. We're coming out of it, so we're stepping back into plank pose. Now we're going to go to side plank pose on the left side. So left hand, and you can reach up through the right hand or right hand onto your hip, or drop the bottom shin to the floor. Reach your right arm forward. Try to lift up through that top hip a little bit more. And then come down to plank pose, and then slowly rock over to the other side. Left arm reaching up. You're on your right hand now. Try to lift that top hip up. Let that arm drop alongside your ear. Breathe. Pulling that bottom shoulder under. And then releasing. So bring the hand down to the floor, lower through chaturanga. Inhale to up dog, exhale to down dog. Step your right foot forward. Left knee down to the floor this time, and holding that stretch. Go ahead and lift your chest forward, almost like you're trying to do a cow position, or put your spine into extension. So lift your chin, kind of drop your shoulders down and back. If you want more intensity, you can go ahead and lift that back knee up off the floor. And just using your hands as support. By all means, if you want to use blocks instead of holding onto the floor, then you can. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Drop that back knee to the floor to release that active stretch there, and then step back into plank pose. Again, lowering through chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or cobra, and then bring the belly onto the floor. Reach forward with the arms. Reach out to a T, and then see if you can lift your feet up off the floor as well. Streamline your arms alongside your body, palms face down. Try to keep your shoulder blades lifting and pulling together behind you. Back to a T position, palms down. Reach forward, palms face each other. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And release. Bring the hands alongside or underneath your shoulders, press up, and then pull back into child's pose. Take a deep breath into your spine, deep breath in, and a deep breath out. Okay, and then start to come up. So from here, we're going to go into from kneeling to a lunge. So we're just going to kind of play around with the hip mobility part of the practice. So we're going to lift that right leg up, and we're going to step it forward, and then we're going to lean into it, and then come back, and then bring it back down. So if you need to be near a wall to do that, then you can. You can also do this from sitting down, and then kind of use your hands to come up like that. Okay, so otherwise high kneeling position, left leg forward, and then you're leaning into it, coming back, and then stepping back into that kneeling position. If you need to, then you're just cushioning your knees. If you feel like your knees can't take that pressure, then put a blanket underneath your knees or an extra yoga mat underneath your knees. Okay, I'm just going from side to side. If you want to add in a reach, then you're reaching with the opposite arm. So my right leg is forward, and I'm gonna reach with my left arm. And then I'm gonna come back. And then I'm gonna step with my left leg, and then I'm gonna reach with my right arm. I'm just going from side to side here. Okay, the next time you step forward with your right arm, or with your right leg, sorry, we're gonna reach with that left arm, holding. Bring the left hand to the floor, and then reach up with that right arm. Reach forward with the right arm and try to get down nice and low, but keep that arm reaching forward, that right arm. So you're bowing in. You should feel the stretch in the inner right thigh there, hip flexor. And then bring it up. Inhale, exhale, down, and then you can kind of use your hands to bring yourself back to that kneeling position. Other side, stepping with your left, reaching forward with your right. Bring your right hand to the floor, and then lean to that right side so you can open up that left arm. And then releasing down. So bring the hand down, and then you can press yourself back. And then come back to that kneeling, the low kneeling position here. And then we'll do some more hip stretches from that low kneeling position. And then you can use your hands to do this. But we're going to take the right leg, and then we're just going to, again, we're working on stretching the ankles here. So you're stepping that right leg in front of you. That left knee is staying on the floor. And then we're kind of leaning to the right side, but bowing into the center. So it's kind of a half kneeling position. You use your hands to help you get out of that pose as best as you can, and use your hands to put you in the pose as best you can. So you step that right leg or left leg forward, and then you're kind of leaning into the lunge. So you want to lean into the stretch. And I'll face this way. My back leg is kind of froggied out, so my hip is dropping down, my right hip is dropping down, my left knee is opening up to the left, and then I'm using my body weight to go deeper into the stretch by folding into the inner line of the leg. Almost like your extended side angle position. And you can do that on the other side. Again, from that low position, it's kind of a low gate position as well. And you can use your arms to stretch. Releasing. On the other side. Trying to drop the hips down as low as you can. Should feel a big stretch through the ankle, through the Achilles there. Okay, and then on that theme, going into a gate position. So we're taking the right leg out to the right, and then the left knee will go off to the left, and this time in that froggy position, the toes will be pointed out to the side. So if this feels like it's too much pressure on the inner left knee, then you can put a cushion underneath it, a piece of foam or rolled up towel, and then you're leaning forward in this position here. So the outer edge of the foot, the right foot, is dropping down to the floor. If this is too intense to lean forward, you can use your hands to lift you up. You can use blocks underneath you if you need to, and you can also pull this bottom knee, this other knee that's out in the froggy position, you can pull it underneath your hip to make it less intense. Okay, to come out, you want to bend into that extended leg and then use your hands as best as you can so that you're not jerking your way back into that neutral position. So on the knees, and then we're going to go to the other side. That left leg is going to stick out like your gate position, and then the right knee, I'm using my hands to kind of support myself as I'm sliding my right knee out to the right, and then I turn my right toes out to the right as well. So in that full froggy position, both knees are looking like this. So they are turned outwards, and the toes are turned outwards as well. So half gate, half frog, and we're breathing here. And again, you're just kind of using your body weight to make this more intense. And if you need to regress, then you are bringing your right knee back in towards you, back underneath your hip. The further this knee is away from your hip, the more that you're putting yourself into a split, essentially here. This is a good way to, if you're trying to get into the splits, this is a really good way to warm up your body to get into it. Okay, and then slowly come on out. So again, we're just going to take that pressure off that extended leg first. We're going to walk it back in, and then use your hands to walk yourself back into that neutral position. Tabletop pose, let's go to down dog. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, walk it out. Okay, so now we're gonna get into some more traditional yoga poses. We're going to do some warriors. So take the right leg back behind you, bend into your right knee, step your right foot forward, left foot comes onto the floor, left heel drops onto the floor. Reach up for warrior one, exhale to warrior two, inhale to reverse warrior, exhale to two, and then inhale to one. Ready to take the hands back behind you, clasp and pull back. Let's go to humble warrior. One of my favorite poses. Really good stretch for the shoulders, for the hips. Also really good for balance. Keep taking those arms up and then releasing. So come on up, arms reach up. Deep breath in, exhale, bring it all the way down. Step through, back through chaturanga. Get into up dog or cobra and then come back into downward facing dog. Right waist, switching sides so that left leg can lift up. Step it forward. Right heel drops to the floor. Coming up to warrior one, warrior two. Reverse warrior. Warrior two, warrior one. Exhale, hands come back behind you, clasping. Pull the knuckles back, open the chest, and then bow forward on the inside part of the left knee. Drop the head down, tuck the chin in. And then rise up all the way. So reaching up, inhale. And then exhale, bring it all the way down. Step back into plank pose. Lower through chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or cobra. And then exhale to downward facing dog. All right, so next going into some wild things. We're going to lift that right leg back. Take it over top of the left leg, and then you come down, and then you just kind of drop onto the floor. So the left leg is straight, my right knee is bent, my left hand is back behind me, that's going to be my support, and then my right hand's just at my chest. So what you want to do is push through that right leg to get up, and you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and then you're arcing over. Okay, so as best as you can, you're holding that and then releasing down. Now don't let your left elbow bend. Keep that left arm straight. It's not bent, it's straight back behind me. And we're gonna do that again. So I'm pushing with my right leg and pushing my hip into extension. And release down. And then we'll do one more here from the ground. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and push it up. Looking over and down that shoulder. And then to release, we're just going to follow over down to the plank position. So hands at plank, lower through chaturanga. And then lift into up dog or cobra. And then come back up into downward facing dog. Let's do the other side. The left leg is going to lift. It's going to go over to the right, off the mat. And then I'm turning. I'm going to keep my right arm straight. And then I'm just going to drop my hip down to the floor. Okay? So again, keeping your right arm straight is going to be key. The power is going to come from your left leg to lift you up. And my left hand is going to be at my chest here. So 1, 2, 3, and go. Push. Pushing up. Pulling that bottom shoulder under is also very key, just like your side plank pose. And then the legs become very, very rigid and engaged. So my right leg is engaged. My left leg, of course, is engaged. It keeps pushing my hip up. And then you can release down and back to the resting position. Okay, take another deep breath in and out. And then we'll go again. Remember, you're pushing through your left leg. I'm just kind of looking down, dropping my head, getting that big side stretch. And release down. Breathing deep. Fingers spread nice and wide on that arm, on that left arm that's taking up a lot of weight. Make sure it's right underneath your shoulder. 1, 2, 3, and go up. pulling the bottom shoulder under you. Pushing up through that top hip. Pushing that heel away, your right heel, push it down into the floor. Dig in. And then release. So close it in. Hands up, plank. Over through chaturanga. Inhale to up dog. And then take a rest in child's pose. You can take the arms back alongside your body if you like, or keep your arms reaching forward. All right, on your next inhale, we'll come back up to tabletop pose and downward facing dog. All right, so stepping forward to the top part of the mat. Inhale halfway, exhale forward fold, and inhale right all the way. Exhale, hands at the heart. Okay, so we'll work on some balancing here just to kind of end up the standing postures, and then we'll get down to the floor soon. We're going to start with tree position using your arms just to help hug your posture in behind you. So basic tree pose, again, it's kind of the first pose you probably learned in balancing pose you probably learned in yoga, but it's very key to kind of get the foundation before you can go on to other balancing pose. So we're going to start here balancing on the left foot. We're going to take the right foot up, and you can take it up as high as you would like to. So above or below the inner left leg. So what you want to start to think about is your tailbone dropping down. Again, not kind of tucking under or engaging the glutes or anything, but dropping down just so that you're thinking about more of a neutral pelvis and you're not leaning forward too much, because you want to drop back through the shoulders as well. With the shoulders, what I've found helpful is doing the bind behind me. So I'm taking my right arm behind my back, and my left arm is just down by my side. I'm going to spin around so that you can see. So holding this posture, you may be able to hold tree for a lot longer than your typical tree just by having your arms pinned behind you like this, because it helps to relax your shoulders. It helps to kind of keep your core muscles engaged for that pose. So we're just going to practice that. I'm holding kind of just at the top of my forearm below my elbow, and I'm thinking about dropping the shoulders down, thinking about pushing my foot into my thigh and my thigh back into my foot. Okay, if you feel pretty stable here and you want to try just something that's a little more challenging, then go ahead and look up, and then you can start thinking about an arch happening in your back. So taking your shoulder blades back even more. Think about the air filling the top part of your lungs. Think about your chin lifting. Releasing out of that position. Okay, and you can kind of shake out your arms if you need to. Okay, going into the other side. So we're going to balance on the right foot, and then the left leg is going to come up. And if you would like to, if you're feeling really shaky and you always feel like you need to hang on to something, then just start down really low. I'd rather you take your foot onto your calf as opposed to trying to get your foot way up here but needing to hold on to something because you're not feeling balanced enough. So just start where your body is at, and then you can go from there. So the left arm will go behind your back and is reaching for that right forearm, just kind of right below the elbow there. And then you're drawing your shoulder blades down and back. Think about your shoulder blades continually pulling back, engaging the core muscles, breathing. And if you'd like to, like we did on the other side, start expanding and just sort of thinking about this top part of your body elevating, so lifting up, and that'll help engage your core muscles even more. Looking up, just to keep challenging your balance, closing your eyes. If you want to challenge your balance even more, keep breathing. Take another deep breath in and out. And then you can release out of that. All right, so shake it out. Again, kind of sneaky shoulder stretches there. Just holding it may not feel like it's too much of a stretch until you hold for very long, and then you'll feel it. We're gonna go to figure four and use eagle arms for our figure four. So we're gonna balance on the left leg first, and then the right leg's gonna go over top. So you can start with the hands at your heart. When you're ready, your arms come out, and then your left arm goes over top of your right arm. So really think about your hips pulling back. If you're finding that you're just feeling like you're tipping way over, then it sometimes just helps to keep your hands on your hips and give them a little push back so that you can kind of manually stretch your hips, or just kind of give yourself a little cue there. That means to pull your hips back and the weight back into your left heel. So left over right arm, chest lifting. Try not to just drop and fold forward into this pose. Try to keep lifting in this version of the pose. Lifting your elbows. Lots of breath in the sidelines of the body, that the hips still pull back. All right, and then releasing out. And then releasing, and then going to the other side. So balancing on the right foot. Left ankle on the right knee. And again, if you need to, just place your hands on your hip points and keep pushing them back as you lower down. And then again, that just kind of gives you a little bit of a physical cue. Keep your hips pulling back, and then that right arm goes over the left arm for this. Elbows lifting. Breathing into the back. Take another deep breath in and out here. And releasing. All right, so shake it out here. We're gonna step to the top part of the mat and go through one more vinyasa before we come down onto the floor. Sweep arms overhead, take an inhale, exhale, and fold forward. Inhale halfway, exhale, step back into plank, lower through chaturanga. Inhale to up dog or cobra, and then exhale to downward facing dog. So just holding that down dog, breathing length into the body. All right, and then slowly release down. So you can bring the knees down onto the floor. Spin around so that you're on your seat. So we're going to go into another little stretch and bind here. So the left leg is going to reach forward and the right knee is going to point up towards the ceiling. Bring the left hand beside your hip and reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Now lean forward and hold. Tuck your chin in and keep reaching. The bind is slightly leaning forward here, so if possible, you want to lean or lift your tailbone slightly up off the floor, and you can use your left hand to do that, just to get a really good bind while you're going to wrap that right bicep around your shin, and then bend the elbow back. So now you've got most of the bind, and then you can hold here, and you can keep using your left hand beside you to keep leaning forward if you would like to. For the full bind, you can take that left arm, reach it forward as well. We're just trying to maximize this range of motion here. So a big sweep around and then behind your back, and then clasping onto your right hand. So if you would like, you're using the strap. Use it on your left hand and just hold it, just a short strap, because you're probably not very far off. You're probably further than what you tend to think, but if it's about a foot, if you have about a foot or even a sock, you can use that. So you're doing the bind, and then you're just going to kind of whip it around your back there. And then when your arm comes around, you likely just find it behind you, and then you're holding there. And then releasing from there. From here, we're going to take the left foot with your right hand on the outer edge of that left foot, and we're going to, as best you can, straighten that leg out in front of you. And then we're going to reach back with the right arm behind you. I'm going to spin around this way so you know what I'm talking about. Try to lift up as opposed to lean back. It's very easy to lean back, but try to keep up onto those sit bones, lifting your posture up and trying to open up shoulders here. And then you can go ahead and release. Switch sides. The right leg is going to go straight, the left knee is going to bend. And there's about a foot, our palms kind of distance in between your legs here, so a little bit about hip distance apart anyways. So left or right hand beside your hip here, and your left arm goes up, and then you're lifting and reaching, and then you're just kind of holding that reaching position, breathing into that, and just kind of getting your hip flexors kind of used to that flexion there. Okay, when you're ready, you can start the bind. You're going to turn your palm out so that your bicep can wrap around the shin. Okay, and then you're just kind of hooking that hand around the leg. And again, you can stay there if you want to. If you want to practice the bind, maybe one side will feel different than the other. Your right arm's going to reach out, big sweep around, and then you're trying to find your left fingers this time. And you can use the bind, or you can use the strap if you did on the other side. If you'd like to, then you're holding onto the strap with your left hand so that your right hand can reach around and try and find it. Alright, and then releasing out. Okay, and now for our twist, we're going to take a hold of the left foot with the right hand and trying to reach it out, lift the posture nice and tall, and reach your left arm back behind you. All right, and then releasing from there. Okay, so next moving into just a cross-legged position like we did at the beginning of the class. Reaching up with both arms, inhale, exhale, and bowing forward. Big stretch, reaching over to the right, bowing to the right knee. Left one. And back to center. And then releasing out. Okay, going into a 90-90 stretch or a pinwheel position. The right shin is going to be forward and then the left knee is going to bend back behind you. Okay, so you can also, it's very common for someone to be like down on here, way down on your right hip in this position, but you can widen your pinwheel out. You can lift your hip up with a cushion, so stick a cushion underneath your right hip just to level everything out if you feel like you're falling way over to the right side and it just does not feel comfortable sitting square. Okay, so first we're going to start by stretching the right side. So the left arm is going to bring, just come out to the left, and then the right arm is going to go overhead. Taking a twist to the right side, left hand onto the right knee. Releasing and then moving forward. So just bowing forward as far as you'd like to. Again, if you don't feel any stretch here when you move forward, then you can straighten your leg, your right knee, sorry, left knee back behind you. So you can pull it back even more and try and stay in that square position. Again, try not to lean way over to the right side. As long as you're square, then you're going to be in the correct posture, and then you're leaning forward. This top shin is going to be parallel to the top edge of your mat. I'm facing the side of my mat, but is level to the edge. Okay, if your knee is pointed more forward and your heel is pulling in more towards your groin, then that's not going to do very much for the flexibility of your glutes or your hips. It's going to kind of lessen it quite a bit. So if you can try and keep at least the top shin parallel to the edge of your mat, then you can kind of go forward and progress that way. Even if you're not going down very far, then that's fine too. The goal is not to necessarily to get your head down to the floor. It's just to have that correct posture so that you can feel it, and everyone's going to feel it differently. So that's kind of the takeaway, is that you need to feel it and then adjust to where you feel it the most and where it's going to be intense for you, but not so intense where it's going to sacrifice the pose, or not so little intensely that you're not going to feel it either. So you always try to find a balance, and I think that's pretty much all yoga together. So holding this, just a couple more breaths as best as you can. You're going to hunt around to feel the stretch as well. So you don't have to just stay straight forward with your upper body here, with your torso. You can angle to the left. You can angle to the right, kind of using your hands to guide you into finding that spot that's going to be where the stretch is needed. And then we're going to release, and then we're going to go to the other side. So the left shin is going to be forward, and then the right knee is going to bend back behind you. Okay, so again, if you need a cushion, you're going to stick it underneath your left hip, and you will know if you need a cushion if you're like over down here. If you're practically lying down, then you need to lift up a little bit more, and you can also kind of pull your knee in closer towards your front foot and just kind of level everything out that way. The more your back knee is back, pulled back, the more intense it'll be. The more your back knee is forward, the less intense it will be as well. So we're going to go over to the right side. We're going to go over to the right side. That left arm is going to reach up though. The right arm is going to reach out to the side. And we're side stretching. Try not to bring that arm across your face. It's just staying alongside your ear. Twisting to the left side, right hand onto the left knee, and look over the shoulder. Releasing from there, and now we'll fold forward. So again, just play around with that range of motion with your back leg coming forward or coming back. Your front shin parallel to the front edge of your mat. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out here. All right, and then slowly start to release here. So coming out of that pose, and then we're just going to do sitting windshield wiper. So you can take your hands back behind you for support here, and then we're just dropping the knees left and right. And then releasing. So we're going to go onto the floor here, onto the back. Make sure you have your strap handy. You can grab onto the backs of the knees, tuck your chin, inhale, rock back, exhale, roll forward. You can use hands free. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of ab work here right away. So come down onto your back. And you can just start by bringing your knees above your hips here, and just make sure that your low back feels like it's pulled down to the floor. So a little bit like bicycling here, we're going to bring the right elbow to the left knee, and then the left hand is going to go onto the floor. And then we're just going to cycle to the other side. So your other opposite hand that's not touching your knee is down, hovering above the floor, not touching the floor. My shoulders are lifted the entire time. And we're just we're going to cycle and cycle. Try to bring the elbow to the inner knee as close as you can. If you can think about it, think about breathing, exhaling when you are making contact, and then inhale as you release. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Try to keep moving. You don't have to go as fast as me. If you need to take a break, then you're taking a break. I'm gonna keep cycling through. I'm going to do 4 more on each side. And 8. Okay, and then releasing down. So you can kind of give yourself a hug. You go right at happy baby pose. Grabbing onto the knees, grabbing onto the shins, or grabbing onto the feet. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Walking it out as best as you can, walking in your happy baby pose. So you're straightening one leg at a time. I'm hooking onto my big toes with my peace sign fingers, but you can do this by just holding onto the knees as well. So big, kind of wide knees here, and they're just kicking out from side to side. Keep moving. All right, and then releasing. Give yourself a hug. Okay, hold on to, get a hold of that strap there, and we're gonna hold on to the right foot with the strap. The left leg is going to go away down onto the floor. So however length of strap you need, that's completely up to you. Your back's going to be flat to the floor, and your head's going to be onto the floor as well. So the strap is handy because it'll give your foot something to push up against, and it'll put your foot into flexion, which is what we want to stretch the hamstrings. And then it'll allow you just to keep pulling the strap closer and closer, pulling that leg closer and closer towards your chest. So deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Now we're going to lift the head and draw the head more towards the knee. So as you're doing this, think about the belly dropping down, think about the rib cage pulling down, think about the back of the left leg pulling down as well. And then releasing. Switching sides. Holding onto the left leg with the strap, and then the right leg will go away and down onto the floor. As best you can, just try to relax into the pose. Relax into the stretch. And then drawing your head now towards your left knee. Think about your belly button dropping down, rib cage pulling down, the back of the right leg pulling down to the floor. So engaging the muscles in your quadricep on that right leg, pulling everything down. And go ahead and release. Okay, release the strap. Bring yourself into a hug. Knees above your hips here, ready for reclined twist. Arms are out to a T. Drop your knees together over to the left. You can slide your bottom leg out from underneath. to make yourself into a deeper twist. You can bring your left hand on top of the right knee and keep guiding that knee down. And you can also twist your legs up like eagle legs, and that will kind of use that bottom leg to help bring the top leg down closer to the floor as well. So adding that bind into the pose. With your arms here, you can free them up, especially with that left arm. You're working on, again, exploring some shoulder mobility here while you're here. Reaching your arm above your head, alongside your ear, and then down alongside your body. And also bending the elbow, palm face up and palm face down, playing around with the different planes of motion. So just take your time releasing out of the twist, and give yourself a hug. Switching sides, the knees above your hips, arms out to a T. Drop your knees to the right. That left arm, again, playing around, sweeping, slow motion sweeping. Keep focusing on the breath here. Another deep breath in and out on this side. And then make your way back to center. Give yourself another hug. Releasing feet to the floor for windshield wipers. Side to side. Check out the range of motion you have with your knees pulling down to the floor. Alright, slow that motion down and move into Shavasana when you're ready. You can move into any other position that's going to feel comfortable for you. Just make sure that it's going to be not too distracting. Like if you're going to be sitting, then just make sure that that is what you've chosen and that you're going to be okay with that for the duration. Just a short little Shavasana here. The idea is to leave the body behind, so you don't want to focus on posture or holding yourself up. It should be fairly an easy posture, whatever you've chosen. And we want to think about the breath mainly. So you can prop yourself up or cover yourself up if you feel like you're going to be cold. That may be a good idea. Start by taking a deep breath in through the nose and fill the lungs and fill the belly completely. A long deep breath out through the mouth. Feel the air move out of the lung, move out of the belly, completely deflating the body. Feel that low back pull into the floor at the bottom of that exhale. And then begin that cycle again. In through the nose, expanding, lengthening the body. And a long, long exhale out through the mouth. See if you can slow that exhale down, even though you're breathing out through the mouth. See if you can make it nice and slow and deliberate, making sure you're exhaling all the air out before you begin your next inhale in. And then you can resume breathing in and out through the nose. Nice slow inhales. Like I've said in other classes here, a good ratio to start with is 5 and 7. So a 5 count in on an inhale, that's seconds, and then 7 count exhale. And if that feels like it's too fast for you, or if it's too not fast enough for you, then you can slow it down. So slowing the ratios down to match your heart rate, basically. So if you're already really relaxed, maybe you're already at a 6 and 8 or a 7 and 9. Or if you've been practicing for a while, you're probably at a 7 and 9 and maybe increasing those ratios. So slowing that inhale in and slowing the exhale out. And that exhale is always going to be about 2 seconds or more longer than that inhale. And that's going to trigger that relaxation response in the body and just help you go deeper. Think about your heels sinking through the floor, softening the calf muscles, backs of the legs, up through the glutes and the sides of the hips. Let the tops of your thighs, all the quad muscles, relax and let go. Let go of the kneecap and the shin, and then back down to the feet. Feel heavy and relaxed through your whole right leg and your whole left leg. When you're breathing in, imagine your spine floating. On your exhale out, you want to feel like your mid-spine is pulling down, and then your upper spine relaxing more onto the mat, onto the floor, along with the upper spine and the shoulder blades feeling completely relaxed and then supported up against your floor or your mat. Allow the shoulders to pull down even more, and the arm bones to relax along with the hands. Feel the sides of the neck begin to loosen and relax. Let go of the head. Head fully supported by the mat and by the earth. The whole back body supported. Resting. Soften across the forehead, muscles around the eyes and eyelids, cheeks, mouth, and jaw. Relax the tongue in the mouth. Soften the throat, collarbones, chest, and your abdomen. The whole body breathing and the whole body relaxing together. time, bringing the attention back to your breath. Slow inhale in with some sound on an inhale, on an exhale. Allowing for bits of movement to start coming through. Starting small and graduating up to larger movements like bending the knees, rocking the hips and knees from side to side. Try to stay relaxed here as you're making these motions. So paying attention to the relaxed body breathing and the relaxed body also moving. Moving intuitively, moving to where it feels good to just stretch right now. Maybe yawning or morning stretch, arms overhead. Rocking or rolling over onto your right. And then when you're ready, you're making your way up to seated from there. Namaste, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. So have a good night, everybody. Let me know what you thought of this class, and if you'd like to see a particular theme in the future, then you can shoot me a message below, and you can also check out other videos that I've done on the video archived on this Facebook page and also on YouTube. So give me a thumbs up if you like this video. You can share it, and yeah, see you guys on Wednesday. If you would like a workout and you like to sweat and you like cardio and yoga at the same time, then HIIT Core Yoga is for you, and you can join me on Wednesday at 7 p.m. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.